Good morning, it's me, Pastor Scott, again for another daily word of encouragement for today, Tuesday, February 1st. Today's word comes from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 2, starting with verse 23. One Sabbath, Jesus was going through the grain fields, and as his disciples walked along, they began to pick some heads of grain. The Pharisee said to him, "Look, why are they doing what's unlawful on the Sabbath?" He answered, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need? In the days of Abiathar the high priest, he entered the house of God and ate the consecrated bread, which is lawful only for the priests to eat. And he also gave some to his companions. Then he said to them, 'The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath.'" Jesus and his disciples are walking through the grain fields and they're hungry, so they decide to take a little snack. Why is this even an issue? Why were the Pharisees or the professional Jewish leaders confronting Jesus on this point? Well, we need to understand a little historical context. The Pharisees and the Jewish people in general had realized over centuries of captivity and foreign rule that it was their disobedience to the law that put them in that place. During the time of Jesus, the Jewish people were under Roman rule and occupation. As a result of their past mistakes, they didn't just concern themselves with obeying the law, but they created additional barriers around the law that would ensure that they wouldn't accidentally violate the law, the Torah. They believed that their obedience then would put them back in God's favor. The law found in the Torah contains 613 commandments, but the religious leaders created an additional 1,500 commandments around the law just to make sure that the people didn't intentionally or accidentally violate God's law. These laws, these additional 1,500, were found in the Mishnah. The Torah, for example, commands us in Deuteronomy 6:12, observe the Sabbath day. But the Mishnah specifies another 39 categories of forbidden labor which are prohibited by this commandment. Jesus is pointing out to the Pharisees that in their attempt to break the Sabbath, they had created a set of rules that went way beyond what God had asked of them. In fact, the rules were missing God's purpose and intent behind Sabbath. The Sabbath was meant not to be another burden, but to provide rest from the burdens of life. It's interesting that immediately after this encounter, Jesus goes and he heals. The Sabbath was designed for healing and for rest. For those of us who follow Jesus, he becomes our rest. When we slow down and take the time to recreate rest, we find healing. Because Jesus is our Sabbath rest, we don't just rest from work, but we work from a place of rest. We find healing when we slow down to remember the work of God, namely in the person of Jesus, who not only gives us physical rest, but rest for our souls. Matthew 11:28 says this, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Jesus is our Sabbath rest. May you feel freed from your burdens today and experience true Sabbath rest in Jesus. See you next time.